John Quincy Adams was born on July 11, 1767, in the town of Braintree, Massachusetts, which is now known as Quincy. He was the son of John Adams, who would later become the second President of the United States, and Abigail Adams. From his earliest years, John Quincy was immersed in an environment rich with political discussion and intellectual pursuit, as his father was deeply involved in the founding of the nation and its diplomatic affairs. Growing up in a household that valued education and public service, young John Quincy displayed remarkable intelligence and curiosity from a very early age. His childhood was marked by exposure to the political debates and international affairs that his father engaged with as a diplomat. This environment undoubtedly influenced his future career path. In 1778, when he was just 11 years old, John Quincy Adams accompanied his father on a significant diplomatic mission to France. At that time, his father was serving as a diplomat representing the newly independent United States during the Revolutionary War period. Traveling across the Atlantic at such a young age was an extraordinary experience for him. During this journey and subsequent stay in France, he had the opportunity to observe European culture firsthand and to learn about international diplomacy from an early age. While in France, John Quincy received education at various European schools. His schooling included lessons in languages such as French and Latin, as well as studies in history, geography, and literature. These educational experiences abroad played a crucial role in shaping his worldview and developing his linguistic skills. His time in Europe exposed him to different political systems and cultural practices, fostering an appreciation for international relations that would influence his later diplomatic career. Throughout this period, he demonstrated a precocious intellect and maturity beyond his years. His exposure to European society not only broadened his understanding of global affairs, but also instilled in him a lifelong passion for learning languages and engaging with diverse cultures. The experience of traveling abroad at such a young age laid the foundation for his future roles as a diplomat and statesman. In summary, John Quincy Adams's early life was characterized by privileged access to education and international diplomacy. His journey to France at just 11 years old marked a pivotal moment that introduced him to the complexities of foreign relations and set him on a path toward becoming one of America's most influential diplomats and political leaders. In 1780, during his teenage years, John Quincy Adams was continuing his education abroad, and he enrolled at Leiden University in the Netherlands. At that time, Leiden was renowned for its academic excellence and attracted students from across Europe. Studying there allowed Adams to deepen his knowledge of law, politics, and languages, further broadening his understanding of European culture and governance. His time at Leiden was marked by diligent study and immersion in the intellectual life of the university, which helped shape his future perspectives on diplomacy and international relations. By this period, Adams had already gained considerable experience in international affairs through his early travels and diplomatic exposure. His education in Europe was not only academic, but also practical. It provided him with first-hand insights into European political systems and diplomatic customs. These experiences were invaluable as he prepared for a career that would eventually see him representing the United States on the world stage. Fast forward to 1794, a significant milestone in Adams' diplomatic career occurred when President George Washington appointed him as the United States ambassador to the Netherlands. This appointment reflected the high regard in which he was held for his intelligence, diplomatic skills, and understanding of European affairs. As ambassador, Adams was responsible for strengthening American relations with Dutch officials and promoting American interests abroad during a formative period for the young nation. His role as envoy to the Netherlands involved negotiating treaties, fostering trade relations, and representing American values to European audiences. Adams' diplomatic efforts helped establish important foundations for U.S.-Dutch relations that would benefit both nations in subsequent years. His work in this position demonstrated his growing expertise in diplomacy and international negotiation, qualities that would serve him well throughout his career. Throughout this period, from his studies at Leiden University to his appointment as ambassador, John Quincy Adams developed into a skilled diplomat with a deep understanding of European politics and culture. These experiences not only contributed to his personal growth, but also laid the groundwork for his later contributions as a key figure in shaping U.S. foreign policy. Between 1797 and 1801, John Quincy Adams served as the United States ambassador to Prussia, a significant diplomatic position that further established his reputation as a skilled diplomat and statesman.
During this time, he was stationed in Berlin, where he worked diligently to strengthen the relationship between the United States and the Kingdom of Prussia. His responsibilities included negotiating treaties, promoting American trade interests, and representing U.S. policies to Prussian officials. Adams's diplomatic efforts were marked by his keen understanding of European politics and his ability to navigate complex international relations. His tenure in Prussia allowed him to gain valuable experience in diplomacy, which would prove instrumental in his future roles. Following his service in Prussia, Adams returned to the United States and entered into domestic politics. From 1803 to 1808, he served as a United States Senator from Massachusetts. As a senator, he was known for his eloquence, strong principles, and dedication to public service. During his time in Congress, Adams was an outspoken advocate for national development, internal improvements such as infrastructure projects, and the promotion of science and education. He also became a prominent critic of policies he believed were unjust or harmful to the nation's interests. Throughout his senatorial years, Adams demonstrated a deep commitment to the principles of republicanism and federalism. He often engaged in vigorous debates on issues such as states' rights versus federal authority and foreign policy matters related to European conflicts. His experience as a diplomat enriched his perspective on international affairs and informed his positions on foreign policy debates within Congress. Overall, from 1797 to 1808, John Quincy Adams established himself as an influential figure, both internationally and domestically. His diplomatic service in Prussia expanded America's diplomatic reach abroad, while his tenure as senator reflected his dedication to shaping the young nation's policies and future direction. These years laid important groundwork for his later roles as Secretary of State and President of the United States. From 1809 to 1814, John Quincy Adams served as the United States ambassador to Russia, a crucial diplomatic post during a turbulent period in both American and European history. His appointment to Russia reflected his growing reputation as a skilled diplomat and statesman. While in Russia, Adams worked diligently to strengthen the alliance between the United States and the Russian Empire, which was an important strategic partner at the time. His responsibilities included managing diplomatic relations with the Russian government, promoting American trade interests and navigating complex international issues such as maritime rights and neutrality during the Napoleonic Wars. Adams's tenure in Russia was marked by his diplomatic tact and ability to foster good relations with Russian officials, which helped elevate America's. In 1814, Adams's diplomatic career took a significant turn when he was appointed as the chief American negotiator for the peace talks that would end the War of 1812 between the United States and Great Britain. He was chosen to lead the American delegation at the negotiations held in Ghent, Belgium. As head of the American peace delegation, Adams played a pivotal role in shaping the treaty that would bring an end to hostilities. His diplomatic skills were instrumental in navigating complex negotiations with British representatives, balancing American interests while seeking a peaceful resolution. The Treaty of Ghent was signed in December 1814, effectively ending the war and restoring pre-war boundaries, although it did not address some issues such as impressment or neutral rights directly. Throughout this period, from his diplomatic service in Russia to his leadership at Ghent, John Quincy Adams demonstrated exceptional skill in diplomacy and negotiation. His work in Russia helped build important international relationships for America, while his leadership during the peace negotiations marked a defining moment in his career and contributed significantly to ending one of America's most challenging conflicts at that time. These experiences solidified his reputation as a capable diplomat who could represent U.S. interests effectively on the world stage. From 1817 to 1825, John Quincy Adams served as the United States Secretary of State under President James Monroe, a period marked by significant diplomatic achievements and shaping the future of American foreign policy. As Secretary of State, Adams played a central role in formulating the Monroe Doctrine, a foundational principle asserting that the Western Hemisphere was off-limits to new European colonization and that any interference by European powers would be viewed as a threat to U.S. security. This doctrine became a cornerstone of American foreign policy and reflected Adams's strategic vision for protecting the continent's sovereignty. During his tenure, Adams was instrumental in negotiating the Adams-Onis Treaty of 1819, also known as the Transcontinental Treaty. This agreement with Spain resulted in Spain ceding Florida to the United States, significantly expanding U.S. territory. The treaty also established the boundary between Spanish territories and the United States along the Sabine River and set the northern border of Spanish America at the 42nd parallel in Oregon country, thereby defining the northern limits of U.S. territory. These negotiations not only acquired Florida, but also helped clarify territorial boundaries, contributing to national expansion and stability. Throughout these years, Adams's diplomatic efforts helped solidify American influence in both North America and Latin America. His work laid important groundwork for future territorial growth and established principles that would guide U.S. foreign policy for decades. His leadership in shaping the Monroe Doctrine and securing territorial acquisitions demonstrated his skill as a diplomat committed to strengthening national interests. In 1824, Adams's political career reached a pivotal moment when he ran for President of the United States. The election was highly contested and unique because no candidate secured an electoral majority, which meant that the decision was ultimately made by the House of Representatives under the 12th Amendment. Although Andrew Jackson received more electoral votes and popular votes than any other candidate, he did not have enough electoral support to win outright. As a result, Adams's supporters in Congress worked to secure his victory through what became known as a corrupt bargain with Henry Clay, who was Speaker of the House, playing a decisive role in influencing the outcome in favor of Adams. This election was controversial and marked by intense political rivalry, setting the stage for future partisan conflicts. On February 9, 1825,
John Quincy Adams was elected as the sixth President of the United States by the House of Representatives, following a highly contested and unusual presidential election. The election of 1824 was marked by a four-way race among Andrew Jackson, John Quincy Adams, William H. Crawford, and Henry Clay. Although Andrew Jackson received the highest number of electoral votes and also won the popular vote, no candidate secured an outright majority in the Electoral College. According to the 12th Amendment to the Constitution, when no candidate has a majority of electoral votes, the decision is made by the House of Representatives, which must choose from among the top three candidates. In this case, Henry Clay was eliminated from contention because he finished fourth in electoral votes. As Speaker of the House and a powerful political figure, Clay used his influence to sway votes toward John Quincy Adams. Many historians interpret this as part of a political deal, sometimes referred to as the corrupt bargain, where Clay's support helped Adams secure enough votes in the House to win the presidency. Adams's victory was confirmed on February 9, 1825, when the House cast its final vote, officially electing him as president. This election was highly controversial and generated significant political tension. Jackson and his supporters believed that they had been unfairly denied victory through backroom deals and alleged corruption. Despite these disputes, Adams's presidency began with his commitment to national development, internal improvements, scientific advancement, and a strong federal government. His election marked a pivotal moment in American politics, highlighting shifts in electoral processes and party alignments that would influence future elections. During his presidency, Adams was a strong advocate for the development of national infrastructure, science, and education, believing that these areas were essential for the country's progress and prosperity. He proposed ambitious programs to improve roads, canals, and other transportation networks to facilitate commerce and unify the nation. Additionally, Adams supported investments in scientific research and educational initiatives aimed at fostering innovation and knowledge among Americans. His vision was to modernize the country and promote intellectual growth as foundations for future success. However, Adams faced significant opposition in Congress from political rivals who disagreed with his policies or viewed his initiatives as overreach or unnecessary government intervention. The opposition was often led by members of the emerging Democratic Party, which was skeptical of federal involvement in economic development and wary of Adams's more active federal role. This political rivalry made it difficult for Adams to pass many of his proposed programs, leading to a period of intense partisan conflict during his presidency. In 1828, amidst this contentious political climate, Adams signed into law a tariff known colloquially as the Tariff of Abominations. This tariff was designed to protect American manufacturing by imposing high duties on imported goods. While it benefited northern industries, it caused widespread dissatisfaction among southern farmers and planters who relied on imported goods and feared retaliatory tariffs from foreign nations. The tariff's implementation led to significant protests in the South, where it was seen as unfairly benefiting northern interests at their expense. The controversy surrounding this tariff deepened regional tensions and contributed to the growing sectional divide that would eventually lead to the Civil War. In 1828, John Quincy Adams faced a decisive and challenging election campaign against Andrew Jackson, a popular war hero and a leading figure of the Democratic Party. Adams, who had served as president from 1825 to 1829, sought re-election, but was met with strong opposition from Jackson's supporters, who criticized his policies and leadership. The election of 1828 was highly contentious and marked by intense political rivalry, personal attacks, and widespread mobilization of voters. Jackson's campaign portrayed him as a man of the common people, contrasting him with Adams's more elitist image. Conversely, Adams's supporters emphasized his accomplishments in diplomacy and internal improvements, but struggled to counter Jackson's populist appeal. The campaign was characterized by mudslinging and accusations on both sides, reflecting the increasingly partisan nature of American politics. Ultimately, Andrew Jackson won a decisive victory in the Electoral College and the popular vote, securing his place as the 7th President of the United States. John Quincy Adams's defeat marked the end of his presidency and signaled a shift toward a more democratic and populist era in American politics, often referred to as the Jacksonian democracy. Despite his loss, Adams continued to be active in public life, later serving in Congress, where he became an influential advocate for abolition and other social causes. After his presidency ended in 1829, John Quincy Adams embarked on a remarkable political journey that distinguished him as the only former U.S. president to be elected to the House of Representatives. In 1831, he was elected as a congressman from Massachusetts, and he served in this capacity until 1848. During his time in Congress, Adams became a leading voice against the expansion of slavery and an ardent advocate for abolition. He used his position to speak out passionately against the institution of slavery, often confronting pro-slavery legislators and defending enslaved people's rights. His speeches and efforts earned him respect as a moral leader committed to justice and human rights. In addition to his anti-slavery stance, Adams became known for his opposition to the gag rule, a congressional practice that automatically tabled or suppressed any discussion of abolitionist petitions related to slavery. Adams believed that such censorship was unconstitutional and unjust, and he tirelessly fought to have these petitions heard on the House floor. His persistent efforts helped to eventually repeal the gag rule, marking a significant victory for free speech and abolitionist movements within Congress. In 1841, John Quincy Adams achieved a significant legal victory when he successfully defended a group of Africans aboard the schooner Amistad in the United States Supreme Court. The case arose after these Africans, who had been kidnapped from West Africa and sold into slavery, managed to seize control of the ship off the coast of Cuba and sought freedom upon reaching American shores. The U.S. government and authorities considered them illegal slaves and sought to return them to their captors or prosecute them for piracy. However, Adams, who was serving as a congressman at the time, took on their defense with great determination. Adams argued passionately before the Supreme Court that these Africans had been illegally enslaved and had rightfully fought for their freedom. He emphasized that they were victims of kidnapping and illegal trafficking, and therefore they should not be considered criminals under U.S. law. His eloquent legal arguments highlighted principles of justice, human rights, and international law. Adams's defense was instrumental in convincing the court that the Africans had acted out of desperation to escape slavery, and that they deserved protection under American law. The Supreme Court ultimately ruled in favor of the Africans, declaring that they were free individuals and had been illegally enslaved. This landmark decision not only granted freedom to those aboard the Amistad, but also reinforced the legal stance against illegal slave trading and contributed to the broader abolitionist movement in the United States. John Quincy Adams's successful defense in this case remains one of his most notable achievements outside his presidential career, exemplifying his lifelong commitment to justice and human rights. On February 23, 1848, John Quincy Adams died suddenly in the United States Capitol building in Washington, D.C., marking the end of a distinguished and impactful life. At the time of his death, Adams was serving as a congressman representing Massachusetts, a position he held with unwavering dedication despite his advanced age. On that particular day, during a session of the House of Representatives, Adams was passionately speaking on issues related to abolition and civil rights when he suddenly collapsed from a severe stroke. Witnesses described how he had been engaged in his speech moments before when he suddenly clutched his head and fell to the floor. The incident was met with immediate concern from colleagues and staff who rushed to his aid. Despite efforts to provide medical assistance on the spot, Adams's condition rapidly deteriorated. He was carried from the chamber to a nearby room where medical practitioners attempted to stabilize him, but the stroke had inflicted irreversible damage. His health declined swiftly over the following hours, and he succumbed later that day within the very halls where he had dedicated much of his life to public service. Adams' death in the Capitol was profoundly symbolic. He died while actively engaged in legislative work, an embodiment of his lifelong commitment to duty and service. His passing elicited widespread mourning across the nation. Many recognized him as one of America's most principled statesmen, whose career spanned diplomacy as a diplomat and Secretary of State, presidency from 1825 to 1829, and decades of congressional service advocating for abolition and civil liberties. His unwavering stance against slavery and his efforts to promote human dignity earned him admiration from supporters and opponents alike. In the days following his death, tributes poured in from across the country. Leaders praised his moral courage, intellectual rigor, and dedication to justice. His funeral was held with great solemnity, attended by numerous dignitaries who honored his legacy as a champion of liberty and human rights. John Quincy Adams' death marked not only the loss of a remarkable individual, but also symbolized the passing of an era characterized by moral conviction in American politics. His life's work continued to inspire future generations committed to justice and equality.